I am Dr. Leana, and what I am about to share with you tonight could completely change the way you think about sleep, not just tonight, but for the rest of your life. Because here is the thing that nobody is talking about. The reason you are not sleeping well after 50 has almost nothing to do with what happens when you lie down. It has everything to do with what you are doing in the hours before that moment. Hours before your head even hits the pillow. Decisions you make without thinking. Habits that feel completely normal, even relaxing, are quietly working against your brain, your hormones, and your metabolism in ways that compound night after night. And the scariest part? You will not feel it happening. There is no alarm, no immediate warning sign, just a gradual erosion of the deep, restorative sleep your body desperately needs to stay healthy, sharp, and strong after the age of 50. I want you to stay with me through this entire video, because by the end, something is going to click for you. If you have ever gone to bed feeling genuinely exhausted, only to find yourself wide awake at 2 or 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, wondering why, I am going to explain exactly why that happens. And more importantly, I am going to show you how to stop it. But first, let me give you a little context about what is actually changing inside your body after 50, because this is important, and most people never get this explained to them properly. After the age of 50, your sleep does not simply get worse for no reason. Your sleep becomes more sensitive. It becomes easier to disturb. Your brain begins producing less melatonin, the hormone responsible for signaling to your entire body that it is time to rest. Your stress hormones, particularly cortisol, start lingering in your system longer than they used to. Your metabolism slows, and your sleep architecture, the actual structure of your sleep cycles, becomes lighter, meaning the smallest disruptions can pull you completely out of the deep stages of rest that are doing the real work of repairing and restoring your body. Think of it like this. When you were younger, your sleep was like a heavy door that stayed shut once it closed. After 50, that door becomes lighter. It only takes a small push to swing it open again. And the 3 habits we are about to talk about? They are pushing that door open every single night without you even realizing it. Let us start with the first one. And I want you to prepare yourself, because this is something that almost every single person does, every single night, and most people genuinely believe it helps them relax before bed. Screens. Your phone. Your television. Your tablet. Your laptop. Now I know what you are thinking. You have heard this before. Blue light, bad for sleep. But I want to go deeper than that, because if you truly understood what is happening inside your brain when you look at a screen at night, you would never look at this habit the same way again. Inside your eyes, you have specialized cells called intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells. These are not your regular vision cells. These cells have one specific job. They detect light, and they communicate directly with a tiny but extraordinarily powerful region of your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This is your master biological clock. It governs your entire circadian rhythm, your sleep cycle, your hormone release, your body temperature, your digestion, virtually everything that runs on a daily schedule inside your body. When those specialized cells in your eyes detect light, especially the short wavelength blue light that pours out of every modern screen, they send a signal straight to your master clock that says one thing very clearly: it is still daytime. Stop the process. Keep the system running. That one signal triggers an immediate chain reaction. Your pineal gland, the small gland in your brain responsible for producing melatonin, receives the message and slows down. It backs off. Because why would your body prepare for sleep if the light signal says the sun is still up? And here is the part that makes this habit so incredibly deceptive. You can still fall asleep. You might even feel sleepy while watching TV or scrolling your phone. Your eyes get heavy. You start to drift. So you naturally assume everything is fine. But it is not fine. Because falling asleep and entering deep restorative sleep are 2 completely different things. Research has consistently shown that evening light exposure delays your internal clock and significantly reduces the amount of time you spend in REM sleep, the stage of sleep responsible for memory consolidation, emotional regulation, learning, and something extraordinarily important that most people have never heard of: brain waste clearance. When your REM sleep is cut short or disrupted, your brain does not get fully cleaned. And that has consequences that go far beyond feeling groggy in the morning. Now, here is what makes this especially critical after 50. Your natural melatonin production is already declining with age. You have less of it to work with. So when a screen exposure comes along and suppresses even a portion of what little melatonin your brain is producing, the impact is not minor. Even 20 to 30 minutes of screen exposure in the evening can delay your internal clock by an hour or more and reduce the depth and quality of sleep in ways that your body simply cannot fully compensate for. You think you slept. Your brain only partially shut down. And night after night, week after week, that adds up into something much more serious than tiredness. The solution starts simply. Turn off all screens at least 60 to 90 minutes before bed. Switch to softer, warmer lighting in your home as the evening progresses. Let your brain experience genuine darkness. Because darkness is not just the absence of light, it is a biological instruction. A direct command to your brain's master clock to begin the cascade of hormonal and neurological changes that lead to true deep sleep. But here is where most people make their mistake. They fix the light issue, they put the phone down, they turn off the TV, and they still cannot sleep properly. They still wake up in the night. They still feel exhausted in the morning. And they cannot figure out why. It is because fixing the light alone is only one piece of the puzzle. And the second piece is something that almost nobody talks about, yet it may be even more powerful than the screen issue. Mental overstimulation before bed. This is the habit that operates invisibly. You could be lying in complete darkness in a perfectly quiet room, and your body could still be entirely unable to enter deep sleep. Because the problem is not in your environment. It is in your nervous system. Here is what happens. When you watch intense or emotionally charged content before bed, the news, a stressful drama, a thriller, an argument-filled reality show, when you check work emails, have a difficult conversation, or scroll through content that provokes anxiety, anger, grief, or worry, your body activates a very specific physiological response. Your brain registers stress. Your sympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for your fight-or-flight response, shifts into a higher gear. And when that happens, your adrenal glands release cortisol. Now, cortisol is not your enemy. In the morning, cortisol is exactly what you want. It is what wakes you up, sharpens your focus, gives you energy, and prepares you to engage with the world. But cortisol at night, elevated cortisol at the time when your body is supposed to be winding down, is a serious disruption to your sleep biology. Because cortisol does not just keep you alert. Cortisol directly, chemically blocks melatonin production. These two hormones are in opposition to each other. When cortisol rises, melatonin falls. When melatonin rises, cortisol is supposed to fall. They work on a seesaw. And when you are stimulating a cortisol response at 10 o'clock at night, you are not just keeping yourself mentally engaged. You are actively suppressing the very hormone your brain needs to initiate deep sleep. After 50, this becomes even more problematic because your body takes significantly longer to downregulate that cortisol response. In your 20s and 30s, your nervous system could bounce back from evening stress relatively quickly. After 50, that stress signal lingers. It echoes through your system for hours. Mild emotional stimulation that you might not even consciously register as stressful can keep your cortisol elevated long past the point when you try to sleep. So you lie down. You close your eyes. And quietly, underneath the surface, your internal alarm system is still running, still scanning for threats, still keeping your brain in a state of low-grade alertness that prevents it from releasing fully into the deeper stages of sleep, where the real restoration happens. And over time, this chronic evening cortisol elevation does something else that is deeply concerning. It increases systemic inflammation. Your body's internal stress response, when activated repeatedly and chronically, produces inflammatory signals that have been linked to accelerated aging, metabolic dysfunction, cognitive decline, and a significantly increased risk of a wide range of serious health conditions. This is not a small issue. This is not just about feeling a little tired. The solution is something I call a wind-down buffer zone, a dedicated period of 30 to 60 minutes before bed where you intentionally and deliberately reduce stimulation. Not because you are bored, not because you have nothing to do, but because you are consciously signaling your nervous system to shift from its active, alert state into its rest and repair state. During this window, choose activities that require very little cognitive or emotional engagement. Light reading, preferably something calm and not too gripping. Gentle stretching or slow movement. Soft music. Quiet conversation about nothing stressful. Slow, deliberate breathing. Even just sitting in a dimly lit room and letting your thoughts settle. these activities do not knock you out. That is not what they are doing. What they are doing is giving your sympathetic nervous system permission to stand down. They are lowering your cortisol. They are creating the biological conditions under which melatonin can rise naturally, and your brain can begin the process of shifting from wakefulness into the kind of deep, uninterrupted, genuinely restorative sleep that heals your body and protects your mind. When was the last time you actually gave your mind space to slow down before bed? Not distracted, not entertained, not scrolling through one more thing, just genuinely, quietly calm. For many people, that answer is a long time, and that gap is costing them far more than they realize. Now we come to the third habit, and this one is the one that most surprises people, because it feels the most innocent. It feels like basic self-care, actually. But it may be the single most direct explanation for why you are waking up in the middle of the night and why you feel exhausted even after what seems like a full night of sleep. Late night eating. Here is exactly what happens inside your body when you eat, especially something sweet, starchy, or high in refined carbohydrates, in the hours before bed. When food enters your system, your blood glucose rises. Your pancreas senses this and releases insulin. Insulin's job is to pull that glucose out of your bloodstream and shuttle it into your cells for energy or storage. This is completely normal. This is your metabolism doing exactly what it is designed to do. But here's the problem. 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours later, often right in the middle of your sleep window, often right around 2 or 3 in the morning, that blood sugar can drop. Sometimes it drops significantly. And when your blood glucose falls too low, your body interprets this as a threat to its survival. It does not matter that you are safe and comfortable in your bed. Your body does not know that. It only knows that fuel levels have dropped and it needs to fix that immediately. So it activates a stress response. It releases cortisol and adrenaline, the same hormones designed to pull you out of deep sleep and make you alert and ready for action. Your heart rate increases slightly. Your brain shifts upward in its level of arousal. And you wake up, not randomly, not for no reason, but because your body just triggered its own alarm system in response to a metabolic event that started with what you ate a few hours earlier. This is exactly why so many people over 50 wake up in the middle of the night and cannot explain it. There is no noise. There is no obvious reason. But metabolically, your body just went through a significant blood sugar event while you were asleep, and it pulled you out of deep rest to deal with it. After 50, this mechanism becomes more pronounced for a specific reason. Insulin sensitivity declines with age. Your cells become somewhat less responsive to insulin signal, which means your body has to produce more of it to do the same job. More insulin means a bigger, faster drop in blood sugar after a meal. Bigger drop means a stronger cortisol and adrenaline response in the middle of the night. Stronger response means more severe, more disruptive awakening. But the impact of late-night eating goes beyond just waking you up. At night, your body is designed to shift into a profound state of restoration. This is when your pituitary gland releases growth hormone, not just for muscle repair in young athletes, but for cellular recovery, fat metabolism, tissue maintenance, and immune function in adults of every age. This is also when your brain activates the glymphatic system, a remarkable network of channels that essentially washes your brain during sleep, removing metabolic waste and toxic proteins that accumulate during waking hours. Some of these proteins, when they build up over time due to chronically poor sleep, have been directly associated with serious cognitive conditions. Your body cannot fully run its repair systems while it is simultaneously processing and digesting food. These are competing priorities, and when digestion wins, when your body is still metabolizing that late-night meal or snack, your restoration process is compromised. Your growth hormone release is blunted. Your glymphatic cleaning is incomplete. And you wake up the next morning feeling tired. Not because you did not sleep enough hours, but because your body never fully entered the state in which real restoration actually happens. This is the hidden reason behind that experience so many people over 50 describe, sleeping for 7 or 8 hours and still waking up feeling exhausted, foggy, and unrefreshed. The adjustment here is straightforward but powerful. Finish eating at least 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. If you genuinely need a small snack in the evening, choose something with protein rather than sugar or refined carbohydrates. A small amount of protein will not trigger the same spike and crash blood sugar cycle. Avoid sweets, desserts, bread, crackers, chips, or anything that rapidly raises your blood glucose. And if you are managing diabetes or are on any medications that affect blood sugar, please speak with your healthcare provider before making changes to your eating schedule, because your individual situation matters. Now let me bring all of this together, because this is where the real understanding lives. Your sleep does not begin when you close your eyes. Your sleep begins in the hours before, in the decisions and habits that are either building the biological conditions for deep rest or quietly tearing them down. Light controls your brain's timekeeping system. When you expose your eyes to bright screens in the evening, you are sending a false signal to your master clock and suppressing the melatonin your body needs to initiate genuine sleep. Stress controls your hormonal environment. When you fill your mind with intense, emotional, or anxiety-producing content before bed, you are elevating cortisol and blocking the hormonal shift that allows your body to move from alertness into deep restoration. And food controls your overnight metabolism. When you eat late, especially foods that spike your blood sugar, you are setting up a metabolic crash that will wake you in the early hours of the morning and rob you of the repair your body desperately needs. When all three of these systems are aligned, when your light exposure is managed, your nervous system is calm, and your body is not burdened by late digestion, sleep happens deeply, naturally, and in a way that actually restores you. You wake up feeling like your body did something valuable while you were unconscious, because it did. But when even one of these systems is disrupted, let alone all three simultaneously, sleep becomes fragmented, shallow, and ultimately unrefreshing no matter how many hours you spend in bed. So I want to ask you one question before you close this video. Which of these three habits is showing up most in your life right now? The screen time late at night? The mental stimulation and emotional content before bed? Or the late night eating? Think about that honestly. Leave your answer in the comments below. I read every single one. And tonight, I want you to change just one thing. Not everything at once. Just one. Because sustainable change does not come from overhauling everything in a single night. It comes from one consistent shift, practiced long enough that it becomes automatic. And when you understand what your body is actually doing while you sleep, and what you can do in the hours before to support that process, everything changes. Better sleep after 50 is not about medication. It is not about complicated routines. It is about understanding your own biology and giving your body what it genuinely needs to do the work it was always designed to do. If this helped you, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone in your life who is struggling with sleep. Because this information could genuinely change the quality of someone's health and their daily life. And I will see you in the next video.